spotlight on Israel-based Coralogix, which is a leading full-stack observability and security platform provider. It's announced $115 million in a Series E funding round. Remember, the round was led by New View Capital. That's a California-based venture growth firm with participation of Canada Pension Plan Investment Board and Next Equity, which is a venture firm that's founded by former Apple executives. The round brings Coralogix valuation to over $1 billion. And that's not the full story, ladies and gentlemen. The company has invested $50 million over the past 5 years in India. That's the whole time that it's been operating in the country. In fact, some of the major customers include IPO-bound Meesho, Book My Show, BharatPe, CoinDCX, Razorpay, and Delivery, all of whom have realized gains in real time in terms of visibility, incident response, and AI observability. But what does this fresh capital really mean for the company, its expansion plans, and most importantly, for the India market? Is the company looking at making further investments into the India market? How is it looking at investments and the kind of returns that they're giving to the company? To discuss that and more, I'm now joined by Ariel Asaraf, who's the CEO and co-founder of Coralogix. Thank you very much, Ariel, for joining us here on ET Now.
Thank you very much for having me. Yep.
Ariel, I think first things first, our thoughts and prayers with you and, of course, all your friends here there in Israel. I do hope that you and your family are keeping safe, and we do hope that these tensions really come to an end soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're all safe and, of course, hoping for, quieter days.
Right. Absolutely. So let's put the focus back on the funding announcement. I'll come to that in just a bit. But first, just help us understand what exactly is your business all about, who all are you serving, and what are your core strengths as compared to your competitors?
Yes, so Coralogix is a full-stack observability platform. What does that mean for a tech company? Tech companies deliver applications and software to their clients, and they need to monitor, make sure that the quality is good enough, that they give good service to their clients, that they're compliant with various regulations, and obviously that they're secure. This includes a variety of products that Coralogix serves, from analyzing log data, which is kind of like a diary of the software, to the metrics and performance data, all the way to security. And also recently, after an acquisition that we've made, secure AI workloads, which is a big part of a lot of companies' vision. And they want to do that securely and in a high-performant way.
Okay, so let's now talk about the funding. So congratulations on the $115 million in fundraise and achieving that unicorn status. What are the key factors that really convinced investors to back the company at this scale? And how do you plan to deploy this capital? And what will you be using it for?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. I think one of the key differentiators of Coralogix is that Coralogix analyzes all data in stream, then query it from the customer's own storage. So if you look at other solutions in the space, they typically store the data for the customer and then analyze it for them. In Coralogix, we analyze the data on the customer's own storage. What does that bring? Better performance, keeping the data sovereign. And we know India has a lot of data requirements that Coralogix is one of the only vendors that can meet. And then reducing costs with infinite retention of data. So we don't charge for how long you want to keep the data. In today's world, especially with AI, we look at data as one of the biggest assets that organizations have. They don't want to send it to another vendor anymore. They don't want to keep it in a format that's not open to them. They don't want to store it just for a few days. They want to utilize that data and make better business decisions. And this is where Coralogix brings an advantage. If we look at why investors look at Coralogix, it's one of the fastest growing companies in our space. Coralogix has grown 7x in the past 3 years since its last funding round. And if we look at what we're looking at in this future for the company, is how do we look at the big revolution around AI and utilize that to provide our customers with a new way of analyzing data, a new way of looking at observability data, not just for monitoring, not just for solving issues, but actually driving the entire business. How do we look at observability data and make better business decisions all the way from the executives of the organization and down to the support engineers? you see the revolution, the magnitude of revolution of AI. It's bigger than anything that we saw before, and we decided that we want to triple down on that, and we raised the right amount that we needed to, first of all, make the first acquisition that we've already done, make maybe a few more acquisitions of talented teams and interesting technology in the space, and especially building out the Coralogix AI Research Center. So Coralogix already today has an AI research center with tens of engineers working and researching AI to, first of all, improve performance, add guardrails to prevent issues that companies exposing AI may be exposed to, and of course, securing AI so companies can deliver that in an ethical and secure way. So that's where the investment is going to go. Specifically in India, Coralogix is going to expand big time. So I think you've mentioned $50 million invested over the last 5 years. We're going to dramatically increase that. Coralogix has an Indian entity, an Indian data center, a big office in Gurgaon, close to 100 people working for Coralogix. We're going to expand that also into Bangalore and open up an R&D center so Coralogix can actually benefit from the great talent that India has to offer.
Right. So you spoke about talent. You spoke about a whole lot of other factors, including data, processing and data storage. We'll come to those points in just a bit. But Ariel, if we could focus a bit on the India market, you started operations here about 5 years back, and back then you deployed $50 million into the country. Help us understand how have those investments played out, and how much more are you looking at investments in India?
So I think the investment in India has a few angles to it. One investment is we see big potential in the Indian market growing and becoming probably the second largest market after the US. So a lot of go-to-market conferences that we've taken. Coralogix has over 50 accounts in India, over 50 customers. You mentioned some of these great names, really, really good engineering teams that we're really enjoying working with. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is opening up the India entity and the Indian office. We see great talent in India. We brought on Navdeep Manaktala to be basically the leader for the region and operated from the Gurgaon office. We hired close to 100 people in India. That's a big investment that we made specifically around security, but also beyond that into the observability side. And the third piece is our investment in the data center in India. India has very specific data needs and data sovereignty requirements that the government imposes on companies. And Coralogix is one of the only vendors to very early on open up a data center in India so we can be compliant with those requirements. So those are three big investments that we've made. And if we look into the future, we see, first of all, we've gained the amount of customers that we wanted. We get great talent and great teams working for us in India, and we really benefit from that, and also leadership. So not just people that are doing the support or stuff like that, but actual leadership that supports the company's growth. And thirdly, the data center obviously was a great investment for us. So now we're looking into how do we do more. We're going to expand into R&D. We're going to expand into the enterprise segment. So you talked a lot about some startups and successful technology companies that work with Coralogix. Coralogix already serves two of the largest banks in India and is looking to do a lot more in that space.
Yes. Yes. So, Ariel, would it be safe to say that you will be pumping in $50 million? That's the understanding that we got from your team, and that's something that you're looking at investing in the India market over the next 2 years. Would that be correct assessment of the kind of investments that you're making here in India? And which segments will you be particularly focused on catering here in this market?
Yeah, it's a great question. So yes, it's a right assumption. As much as we can make that investment and hire at the speed we want, that's definitely what we're planning. If we look at the segments that Coralogix is after, so like I mentioned, we already serve two of the largest banks now in India. We're going to go higher up in the chain. Obviously, we still serve all the startups and the tech companies and the innovators, but now we're going to go to the banking sector. We're going to go to the insurance sector. We're going to go to the government sector in India and see how we collaborate with these partners to bring Coralogix beyond the technology layer into the business giants of India.
Right, Ariel. I'll come to the government angle in just a bit, but let me also ask you about, the geopolitical uncertainty that's brewing across the world. There is policy reshuffle that's leading to global economic order changing. How is that really changing how you as a company do business, and how are global investors in startups looking at these changes, and how does that really change their investment strategy?
Well, I think there's something great about technology and tech is that you can't bomb knowledge. And so it doesn't really matter whatever the geopolitical situation is, the startup companies and tech companies remain very resilient. And we saw that across the board, by the way. India just had a conflict. We didn't see anything changing for our customers. Our customers operated just the same. We look at Coralogix or other Israeli companies, by the way, operating in some of them public. We don't see any holdback because of the situation. Maybe even the opposite. People are more driven and more focused on success, and really want to make sure that their company and then their economy and their ecosystem is successful. And we definitely see some challenges, but we also see how we overcome these challenges and continue to succeed in this environment.
Right. And would you be looking at acquisitions here in the India market as you look at growing? You are already a unicorn and your valuation is now up to $1 billion. But would you be looking at acquisitions here in the India market to expand your presence?
So Coralogix had definitely already been in touch with quite a few Indian companies and evaluated potential acquisitions. We're very much open to that. Talented teams that can add up both culturally and from a talent perspective, and obviously from a technology and product perspective, to the Coralogix vision. India is definitely going to be one of the geographies that we're going to look into, and if there's a good opportunity, go for it.
All right. Thank you very much, Ariel, for sharing your thoughts with us on your India strategy. You're looking at not really averse to pumping in more money into the India market. For now, it's $50 million that you've earmarked for the next 2 years. And of course, you'll be looking at acquiring any companies that might meet your business model. On that note, thank you very much once again for joining us here on ET Now, and appreciate you taking the time out and speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's time now for us to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with lots more coming up on the other side of this short break.